Hello, my name is Amanda Addison. With me is Lexi Abity, Dustin Clark, and Derek Mitchell, and we did our project on Norway's oil and gas industry. Did you know that Norway has some of the world's highest petroleum prices despite being one of the biggest oil exporters in the world? Today we're going to talk about petroleum sector organization, petroleum exploration and production, exports of petroleum, pipelines, and refining. Also, we're going to talk about natural gas sector organization, production and development, exports, and liquefied natural gas. The petroleum sector is headed by the Storting, which is the Norwegian parliament. The Storting establishes the framework for Norway's petroleum activities. In 1972, the Storting adopted a national oil policy for Norway. The government of Norway holds executive power over the petroleum policy with the help of 5 agencies, which are listed in this chart. Exploration and production. The North Sea is home to the most oil fields in Norway. The beginning of the Norwegian petroleum industry began in 1969 when Phillips Petroleum Company discovered the Ekofisk oil field in the North Sea. Production from this well started in 1971. The Ekofisk field is still in production today and will be until about 2050. In December 2012, it was approximated that 129 million cubic meters of recoverable resources are left in the field. This field is Norway's largest producing oil field. Production in the Barents Sea has yet to begin. In 2000, Goliat was the first oil field discovered in this sea. Production is set to begin this fall. The Goliat oil field is estimated to contain 282 billion cubic feet and 174 million barrels of recoverable resources. Few oil fields have been discovered in the Norwegian Sea. The largest oil field here is the Asgard oil field. Asgard was discovered in 1981 but didn't start production until 1999. This oil field has approximately 18.6 million cubic meters of recoverable reserves. Asgard is operated mainly by Statoil and is currently producing around 55,000 barrels per day. In 2013, it was estimated that Norway was producing 1.8 billion barrels per day of petroleum. More than 60% of Norwegian petroleum resources remain beneath the seabed, including 25% that has yet to be discovered. Production of oil from the Norwegian continental shelf peaked in 2004 and has slowly been decreasing since due to mature oil fields and is expected to continue falling. Norway is constantly working on new technology advances to improve exploration and productivity.
Oil exports. Norway is understandably Europe's leading oil and natural gas producer, supplying many European countries with oil and natural gas. Norway also exports oil and gas to much of the continent, as you can see on the graph. The Norwegian-based service and supplier industry has grown its international sales by almost 25% from 2007 to 2009. International sales have reached a level of almost $20 billion US. Currently, Norway has 76 oil fields actively averaging around 1.9 million barrels of oil per day and around 111 billion standard cubic meters of natural gas per day. As of 2013, the U.S. Energy Information Administration estimated that Norway was the third largest exporter of natural gas in the world after Russia and Qatar, and the 12th largest net exporter of oil. Norway's petroleum production has recently improved and is currently known as the 6th largest supplier of crude oil and 2nd largest exporter of natural gas. Consequently, the petroleum industry is one of the most important and wealthy industries that Norway has to offer. Oil pipelines. Norway is filled with oil and natural gas pipelines that string throughout Europe, such as the Grain Oil Pipeline, the Nordpipe, and the Osberg transport system. The Norwegian gas transport system includes a network of pipelines with a total length of more than 8,000 kilometers. The Grain Oil Pipeline is a 220-kilometer long pipeline carrying approximately 34,000 cubic meters of oil per day. This pipeline has an approximate lifespan of 30 years. The Norpipe oil pipeline is 354 kilometers long. The subsea pipeline has a capacity of approximately 913,000 barrels per day. The Iceberg transport system is 115 kilometers in western Norway. The pipeline can transport up to 765,000 barrels of oil per day with a lifespan of 40 years. Oil refining. Norway has two refining plants, Mongstad, which is owned and operated by Statoil, and Esso Slagen, which is owned and operated by ExxonMobil. The Mongstad is the largest oil refinery of its kind in Norway, processing 203,000 barrels of oil per day. Each year, the Mongstad oil refinery processes on average about 12 million tons of raw crude oil. Most of the oil that this refinery receives comes directly from Norway's continental shelf and is exported to continental Europe. The Esso Slagen oil refinery was the first refinery in Norway, processing 116,000 barrels of oil per day. This facility is processing on average around 6 million tons of crude oil a year, primarily supplied from the North Sea. The Slagen refinery is exporting nearly 60% of the oil they are processing.
Natural gas sector organization. Norway is the sixth largest producer of dry natural gas. They supply 20% of Europe's natural gas. Norway produces way more natural gas than they use. Last year, they produced 3.97 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. Norway has 74 trillion cubic feet of proven natural gas reserves. The natural gas is transported through pipelines as liquefied or compressed natural gas. Production has steadily increased since 1993, but in the last 2 years it has started to drop. Statoil is the most dominating gas company in Norway. Statoil is a Norwegian gas company located in 36 different countries. Not only are they one of the top oil and gas companies in the world, but they are a top company in any industry. Norway also has other big companies such as ExxonMobil, ConocoPhillips, Shell, and Eni Norge. ExxonMobil is the third biggest producer on the Norwegian shelf. They produce 243,000 barrels per day. ConocoPhillips is located in the North Sea and operates 4 fields in Norway. Shell has 2 operating fields. One is called Dragon and the other is called Ormen Lange. Eni Norge produced 38.7 million barrels in 2013. Natural gas production and development. Norway has the world's largest offshore pipeline called Langold, with 6 terminals that export oil to consumers. Delivery potential for natural gas is likely to decline as we reach 2025. Gasco is state-owned and they oversee the pipeline networking in Norway. They transport 100 billion cubic meters of gas a year, and they make sure that all users have equal rights. Troll is the largest natural gas producing field in Norway, producing 1.05 trillion cubic feet last year.
Norway's natural gas exports. Norway is the world's second largest exporter of natural gas. The country exported an estimate of 3.8 trillion cubic feet of natural gas in 2013. Which is 96% of its production being exported to consumers such as the United Kingdom, Germany, France, the Netherlands, Belgium, and Italy. Norway exports its natural gas by extensive export pipeline infrastructure and liquefied natural gas tankers. 21% of Europe's natural gas was exported by Norway in 2013, making them the largest exporter of natural gas among other European countries and surpassing Russia, who led in previous years. Norway was able to make this possible because as Russia's gas prices remained tied to oil prices and Norway's left the system of indexation, imports from Norway rose 12% while imports from Russia fell 10%. Statoil liquefied natural gas. Statoil is an international energy company and the largest oil and natural gas producing company in Norway, operating for over 40 years. Liquefied natural gas is a method that oil and natural gas transporting companies use to transport liquefied natural gas, such as Statoil, and it can compress the volume of natural gas to 614 times smaller. Statoil uses this method when the natural gas is not near a pipeline infrastructure, such as the Snøhvit liquefied natural gas plant. With this leading knowledge of liquefied natural gas, Statoil signed a 5-year deal with Lithuanian Energy, ending the monopoly of Russia. Norway's Statoil will be responsible for transporting 540 million cubic meters of natural gas to Lithuania every year for 5 years. This deal will ensure the availability of an alternative natural gas import source for Lithuania, as Russia will have to be cautious with their high prices. Statoil is the leading oil and natural gas company in Norway with a worldwide presence, and they continue to meet the country's rising energy needs. In conclusion, we've discussed how Norway is the largest oil producing and exporting in Western Europe and the 15th largest oil producer in the world. The oil and gas industry started in 1969 in this country. Norway is the 6th largest exporter of crude oil in the world. The petroleum industry is the most important and wealthiest industry that Norway has to offer. Norway is the 6th largest producer of dry natural gas. Norway supplies 20% of Europe's natural gas. This country is the 2nd largest exporter of natural gas in the world.